Hello, Francesa. So, could you please say your full name, where you're at school, and what you're studying?
So my name is Francesa Pardo, and I go to McGill University. I'm in second year in majoring in political science, and I have two minors, one in African studies and one in Middle Eastern studies.
Uh-huh. And obviously you're part of the internship program. And could you talk about what the program was like for you? What did you find most interesting about the interviews you worked on?
The program for me was really insightful in learning about people's lives in Egypt. So you have first-hand experience of the revolution there. So to hear the testimonies was not a life-changing experience, but it was a truly learning experience. I feel like I learned a lot from them, from their personal experiences. And discovering how torture was prevalent was very distressing. I was not aware of that fact.
And how did you discover that? How did it come up in your interviews?
It came up through the questions that you would ask them, so it was very targeted interviews. And then through their own personal testimonies, what they would recount. And also the seminars, discussion groups that we had, or lectures. So it was all like coming up together to give us a broader sense of understanding the situation there.
And we've talked about how this fits in with your career. Could you highlight that for us?
So we were talking previously that my aspirations to become a journalist, reporter in the future. So, and I'm also learning Arabic right now because I like to report in the Middle East or Northern Africa. Mm-hmm. So, for me, this was a very great opportunity because these were interviews. So, it gives me a sense of the mechanisms of how an interview takes place. Yeah. And learning the testimony. So it's a good cultural, political knowledge or background to give. And it was just like an insight of what is happening on the ground elsewhere, and not just like theoretical knowledge or learning. It was a different kind of learning, and I really appreciate the new approach.
Yeah. And so one of the interviews I gave you was a journalist, since I knew you wanted to be a journalist. Exactly. What did you think of YL, the journalist?
I found Weil really fascinating. He was really honest in his own introspection and in his recounting of his experience. And he was working for different journals, and I found him really brave, very daring, and committed to the cause. He was very fearless and never doubting, always like going back, even though he knows that he might be in prison, that he might be beaten up again.
And he was imprisoned several times.
He was, and a lot of them had experience of torture, but would still go back nevertheless. Truly believed in the cause.
And we talked about how in these interviews, something I came across is people are often very kind of nonchalant about their torture, like they just kind of gloss over it, either because it's so common, or they're so courageous, or just hard. Did you find that with this interview?
Because the first time I heard of someone confessing that he had experienced torture, I was really taken aback and baffled. I thought the conversation would develop on that point. But then, they sort of glossed over it, like you said, or not dismissed it, but would not emphasize the experience too much, would not stress it. Yeah. Although you could tell it was, something that had affected them deeply. But, there was no graphic, detailed description. Yeah. It was,
And it's so much the norm, unfortunately.
Exactly. And all of them, most of them knew, or at least like one person had been affected by it, or had undergone torture themselves. So then it put things into perspective for me, because I thought, what did this statistic apply to our lives? Like, it was really distressing, and for them it was just a fact. And
right. Yeah. And where are you from originally, Francis?
Oh yeah, so my dad is British and my mom is French, but I was born and grew up in France.
That's wonderful. So you'll be trilingual once you get Arabic down. Yes, great.
That's the dream, or the aim.
Yeah. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I just hope that the lives of all these people will be for the better in the future, and that a peaceful solution might be found for Egypt's turmoil. And thank you for this opportunity to learn more and investigate. Yeah.
Oh, you're very welcome, and I hope to see you doing journalism on the ground in 10 years in Egypt, and you'll be just as courageous as all the journalists that are there now. Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.